Hello children, how are you? I hope you all are doing well, studying well, and now you know a lot of different landforms of India. At the same time, you also have understood why we need to learn more about the SST, because it tells us in more detail about the places that about the country especially where we are living, and also more information about geography and the history of the place and how it is working. Okay, how does our government operates also. We come to know about all these things through SST. So children, as we know, India is a vast country. Okay, it has lot of landforms in the country, okay, which makes it the most suitable country to live in. Okay, so we also have, apart from the beaches and beautiful mountains and all, we also have a lot of forests and wildlife in India, okay, which also makes it more attractive. All right, so we are going to talk about that in detail in this chapter. Okay, so learning objective is we are going to talk about the importance, types and conservation of forests and wildlife. Okay, so let's do a quick warm up first, and we have to look at the given pictures and write the name of these animals. Then write D for domestic animals and W for wild animals. All right, so let's talk about forest first. What is a forest? It is an area of large number of plants and trees. So there are a lot of trees and there are a lot of plants in the forest areas. Okay, so it is one of the most important natural resources that harbor innumerable species of plants and animals. So when it is a forest area, it is not only a home for trees and plants, it is also a home for lot of birds and lot of animals as well. Okay, so forest is also useful for human beings in many ways. So earlier they say when God was creating this world, he first created all these natural things, okay, like the trees, the plants, and the beaches and the mountains. So he created that first, and then he put into them the living organisms like the animals, birds and human beings. So in the earlier times, there was nothing like a city or nothing like a urban area. It was all about forest area. Okay, so that is where these humans started living. So they used to live in the forest areas before. So they were like the tribals. Okay, so then slowly and gradually they started utilizing the things that were available in the nature, and then they started reforming our mother earth. Okay, so many of the things that we use in our day to day life are products obtained from the forest. So forests, they play a vital role because we get a lot of products, okay, which are made out of the things that we get into the forest, like the wood especially. Okay, and also they provide us with the fruits, vegetables, herbs. Okay, there are certain medicines which are made out of the forest products. Okay, so forests, they form a specific ecosystem. An ecosystem is a surrounding where plants and animals live and grow together, and interdependence occurs. So we all are interdependent on each other. Okay, like all the living organisms are interdependent on each other. Okay, plants are dependent on animals, okay, and humans as well. So animals are dependent on plants and humans. So everyone is dependent on each other. Okay, so there is a lot of interdependence that occurs here. So what is the importance of forest? Why do you need forest? Forests are also called the green lungs. Imagine no trees, no forest. How would you get your oxygen? Who provides you with oxygen? Oxygen is one of the major gases that we breathe in. Okay, without oxygen, will we survive? No. And who makes this oxygen? Right, this oxygen is produced by the plants, the trees. Okay, So, that is the reason why they are known as the green lungs. It is because they absorb the carbon dioxide from the air and they give out oxygen. Okay? Trees and plants release water vapor into the air. The water vapor rises up and forms clouds that eventually cause rain. It also helps in keeping the climate cooler. Okay? The dead remains of trees and plants mix into the soil, forming humus. So, trees and plants, they release the water through moisture that comes. Okay? Now, this moisture, this water vapor gets mixed into the air. Okay? Now, when this water vapor rises up, it forms clouds and then we get rain. Okay? So, because of the rain, the climate becomes cooler. Now, the dead remains of the trees and plants, what happens is that they get mixed into the soil and they make the soil fertile, okay, by forming humus. Now, the roots of trees and plants, they hold the soil together, preventing soil erosion, because the roots and the roots of the trees, the roots of the plants, they are very firmly attached to the soil, okay, and because of that, okay, when there is floods and all, okay, the soil erosion, that is the flowing of the soil, okay, does not happen. It settles in that area and they are attached to the roots, okay, and that is the reason why it prevents soil erosion, okay. So, it prevents the soil from getting washed away. So, we get wood, food, medicine, paper, gum, etc. from forest. So, these are some of the products that we get from forest out of the lot many others, okay. Forest is the home to many animals and insects. Okay, so 33% of the land in our country should be forest area ideally, but at present only 20% of the land is forest. So, ideally it should be 30%, but the way the developments are happening, a lot of forests are being cut down and cities are being built, okay, or roads are being built or dams are being constructed in those areas, which has come down to 20% only. So, what are the different types of forest? Okay, the 1/5 area of land in India is covered with forest. The forests are of different types. The kinds of plants that make the forest depends on the climate, soil and availability of water and mineral for the growth of plants. There are 5 main types of forest found in India. They are evergreen forest, deciduous forest, coniferous forest, thorny and scrub forest and tidal forest. So, 1/5 of the land, okay, of India is covered with forest. Okay. So, in the forest obviously we know that there are a wide variety of plants and trees. Okay. So, where these forests are, what type of forest are, okay, it all depends on the area where they are. Okay, the climatic condition of that area, okay, what type of soil they are in, okay, and how much water is available. It depends on that, okay, the type of trees that are grown in these forests and the types of forest. Okay, it all depends on the suitability, okay, of the climate, the type of soil and the availability of water. Okay, so the different types of forest are evergreen, deciduous, coniferous, thorny and shrub forest and tidal forest. Okay. So, let us begin with the evergreen forest. Okay. So, as the name suggests, evergreen means it is forever, it is always green, okay, in that area. So, these evergreen forests, they are also known as tropical rainforest. Okay. They are found in areas that receive heavy rainfall. So, they are in those areas which have a lot of rainfall, okay, and that are hot and humid. So, these forests, okay, require this type of condition, okay, known as which is hot and humid condition with lot of rainfall. So, these trees, okay, they do not shed their leaves, okay, they have leaves all throughout the year. They do not shed their leaves like the other forest. Okay. So, during the many of the trees, they shed their leaves at the change of weather, okay, or the change of season, but these trees which are there in the evergreen forest, they do not shed their leaves. They remain green throughout the year. The trees are tall and they form a broad canopy, okay, at the top. So, they cover the entire area, okay, with tall trees, okay, and they form like a shed on top, okay. So, they also have thick undergrowth on the ground. So, it is not only above, but they also have a lot of growth under the ground, okay. The northeastern hills, Western Ghats and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are covered with evergreen forests. Mahogany, ebony and rosewood. They are the trees that grow in this forest. Now, let us talk about deciduous forest. Now, deciduous forest, they are also known as the monsoon forest. Okay. So, the foothills of the Himalayas, okay, the wetter parts of the Deccan Plateau and Bihar, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh, they are covered with such forest. Some trees, they shed their leaves in winter and some shed their leaves during autumn. So, yes, deciduous forest, the trees over there, some of them do shed their leaves, okay, and some do that during winter time and some do that during the autumn time, okay, that is before the winter, okay. Hence, even if the trees shed leaves, the forest never becomes bare due to the different shedding times of the leaves, okay. So, because the shedding time varies, that is the reason why, okay, these trees, okay, they are always the forest is never bare, okay. There is always leaves on the trees. Teak, sal, shisham, bamboo, sandalwood and simul. They are some of the trees that grow in such forest. In India, the area covered by deciduous forest is more than that covered by evergreen forest. Okay, now, let us talk about the coniferous forest. Okay, so coniferous, what do you understand by the term coniferous? Coniferous, the word itself says that these trees, okay, in this area are like cone shaped, okay, they are like cones, okay. So, they are found in the Himalayan region and in parts of Nilgiri hills. They are also called mountain forest, okay, and the trees here, they are tall, they are cone shaped and they have needle like leaves. Now, why do they have needle like leaves? Okay, especially in the mountain areas and all where there is snowfall, okay, the snow easily falls down from the trees because of the shape of the trees and the leaves which are needle like leaves, okay. That is the reason why the snow flows down, okay, does not settle on the trees, okay. At the same time, they also bear cones. The pulp of these trees are used to make paper. Cedar, spruce, devdar, pine and fir, they are found here. Next is thorny forest. Okay, now these forests, they are mainly found in areas with very little rainfall. Okay, so Rajasthan and Gujarat, they have very little rainfall. Okay, so that is the reason why over there you will find such forest. Okay, the trees and shrubs, they have long roots and thick barks. Their leaves are modified into spines. Okay, spines are thorns. Okay, so these plants can survive without water for a long period of time. You have babool, date, palms and khikar which grow here. Okay, next are the tidal forest. Now, what are tidal forests? These forests are also known as mangroves. Okay, now these are found in the areas where there are rivers. Okay, so they are found in the deltaic regions, okay, of the Ganga, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi and Godavari. So they are very much closer to the river areas or sea areas. Okay, they are also found in area flooded with sea water. Okay, so Sundarban is an example of a mangrove forest. A tree called Sundari grows here. The trees that grow here, they have hard wood. The wood is very hard. Okay, roots of these trees, they emerge from below the soil. Okay, and they are called breathing roots. Its wood is used to make both. Alright, so now let's talk about how do we conserve these forests, how do we preserve these forests. Okay, let's talk about conservation of forest now. So we know the importance of forest and why it should be preserved. Everyone knows that forests play a vital role in human existence, in human survival, not only human, but we can say for the living organisms. Okay, so it is very important that we preserve these forests, okay, and we do not cut them off. So we have to put a stop on certain activities which are done in the forest, which are not what should be done. Okay, so one such activity is deforestation. Okay, so deforestation should be prohibited to maintain the balance in nature. So what is deforestation? Deforestation is the large scale cutting down of trees. Now these trees can be cut down for many reasons. Okay, it is not only for getting wood from the forest. Yes, that is one of the reasons, but apart from that, they can also be cut because they need to do some development activities in those areas, like they want to construct some dams, or they want to make some new factories, or new buildings have to be constructed. So there can be n number of reasons why these trees are being cut down. Okay, so in 1970, okay, women from Raini village in Uttarakhand started a mass movement to save the trees in the forest. So women had to take up this step because they wanted to save the trees, okay, from cutting down. Okay, so this movement is known as the Chipko movement. So what do you understand by the word Chipko? Chipko means in Hindi chipakna, to stick around. Okay, so what these women did was, okay, this movement, they started this movement called the Chipko movement, and it was led by Sundar Lal Bahuguna. Okay, so Chipko in Hindi means to stick around or to hug something. Okay, so each woman, what they did was they hugged a tree, okay, and they protected it from being cut down by the loggers. Okay, so the wood loggers had come to cut down the trees. So what they did was these women ran and they started hugging one tree, okay, and they refused to leave the tree. So their protest which was there, it made the Indian government pass laws that restricted the cutting down of trees. Okay, and that's when the laws came into picture about cutting down of trees. So the government has passed many such laws that protect the green lungs. Social forestry movement and Van Mahotsav are some such programs launched by the government to save forest. People, especially children, have been encouraged to save trees and take initiatives to plant more of them. So, a lot of trees are being planted, okay. At the same time, you'll see a lot of schools. What they do is they take the children out for tree plantation drives, and that is the reason why, okay, they are telling the children, okay, in this manner that the trees are really very important for our survival, and we should not cut them off, and we should plant more trees. Okay. Now, time to do, you have to name any 2 trees that are found in each of these forest. Okay, you have to find out which trees are found in the evergreen forest, deciduous forest, thorny and shrub forests, and coniferous forest. Okay. Now, let's move from forest to another very important thing that you find especially in the forest areas. What is it? Yes, that's the wildlife. Okay, so the Indian forest, they provide shelter to a wide variety of wildlife. Okay, some of the animals found in some parts of India are Asiatic lions of the Gir forest in Gujarat, Royal Bengal tiger of the Sundarbans in West Bengal, red panda and snow leopards in Darjeeling, West Bengal, elephants, tigers, deers and hippos in northeastern states, wild buffaloes, boar and bear in the deciduous forest. So, if you see, okay, most of the forest, okay, have a wide variety of wild animals. Okay. So, some of these areas, okay, are really very famous because of the type of species of animal that they have. Okay, like for example, Gir forest is famous because it has a large number of lions there. Okay, and there are so many people who go and visit these forest areas or sanctuaries to see these wild animals right in front of them. Okay, So, in a bid to save wildlife, the Indian government has set certain laws that forbid killing or hunting of animals. Wildlife sanctuaries and national parks have been set up where animals are allowed to roam freely in the area. They are bred and taken care of. So, in earlier times, okay, there was a lot of hunting activities that used to happen. Okay, there were hunters who used to go enter into these forest areas, and they used to kill the animals for their skin, for their tooth, or for various reasons. Okay, but now the government has become quite aware about all these things, and they are very vigilant about all these things, and they are ensuring that there is no hunting or poaching activities done anymore, and they are trying to preserve this wildlife animals. Okay, because slowly and gradually they were realizing that the numbers are going down, and these animals would get extinct very soon, and that is the reason why they had to take up this step. So, hunting is strictly prohibited in the areas, okay, of national parks or sanctuaries and all. So, we can see animals in the zoo, okay, but however, if people want to see them in their own area, okay, so that is when people visit all these wildlife sanctuary and they see these animals. However, they have to follow the rules of the jungle, okay, and they have to follow the rules or whatever instructions are being given by the people who are taking them out for a safari. Okay. So, now India has approximately 103 national parks and more than 531 wildlife sanctuaries. So, national parks, they are the areas where wildlife and vegetation both are preserved, and wildlife sanctuaries, they are the areas where endangered animals, they are preserved and taken care of. Okay, so even if any animal gets hurt or something like that, so nowadays they have a lot of cameras set up in these sanctuaries also, and immediate medication is provided, and these animals are taken care of by the forest department. Okay, some of the famous wildlife sanctuaries are Corbett National Park, which is in Uttarakhand, Ranthambore, which is in Rajasthan, Kaziranga, which is in Assam, Bandipur, which is in Karnataka, Kanha in Madhya Pradesh, Gir in Gujarat. Alright, so children, I am sure that one of your vacation time you will definitely go to visit some of these wildlife sanctuaries, and you may be able to witness the animals for real in your, when you go for a visit over there in their area. Okay, in zoos we see them caged or in a small area, but forest is where they belong to. Okay, and we must respect them. It's just like when we visit their area, okay, we are their guest, so we should not trouble them. Okay, so that, because if we trouble them, we are causing a big trouble for our own self. Okay, so do not tease animals, be it any animal. Do not tease them, be nice to them. Okay, you are going there to see them, just see them, do not make noise, do not disturb them. Alright children, so now let's do reshuffle this and do this activity where you have to arrange the given letters in proper order to get the correct words. Okay, like forest, F-O-R-E-S-T. Okay, do the rest. Now, new words. Okay, evergreen means a forest in which trees do not shed leaves. Okay, deciduous is a forest in which different trees, they shed their leaves at different times. Okay, so now let's recall what we've learned in this chapter. There are 5 types of forest in India: evergreen, deciduous, coniferous, thorny and scrub, and tidal forest. A large number of forests have been cleared, resulting in deforestation. In India, there is a variety of wildlife like Asiatic lions, Royal Bengal tiger, red panda, snow leopard, elephant, tigers, deers, hippopotamus, wild buffalo, boar, bear, etc. The government has developed a number of sanctuaries to protect the wildlife, and we must ensure that we not only protect the wildlife, but we also preserve the forest areas, the trees. So do not encourage any such activities of cutting down of trees. Always plant more trees and do take good care of animals as well. Now children, quickly reread the chapter and get on to the back exercises as soon as possible. Alright children, get going.